Everyone. Today we will cover how to find your company's main competitors along with your company's financial ratios for part 2 of homework 3. And then we will input the information into Excel to compare the ratios with the company's 2 competitors. First, we want to start by opening Excel and creating a table for the financial ratios that we're going to find. As you can see in my example here, it doesn't need to look exactly like this. But the important part is that you have a row for your company. In my example, I used Microsoft. And then the 2 competitors. And so the way that I set this up, and you'll see later in the video, so we have Microsoft, and this will be your stock, first competitor, and then a column for the percent difference, so that way you can compare those two. Then we have the second competitor, along with another column for the percent difference. And on the left side here in column B, you can see that we have the different types of financial ratios. These are just examples, so you can use these if you'd like, or if you find other ones that may be more meaningful for your summaries, feel free to use those as well. Once you're done creating the table, we can search for your company's 2 main competitors. To do this, you can start by simply Googling your company and the 2 main competitors. So we will use Microsoft here. We can do Microsoft's main competitors. And this is a website that I've seen as well, whatcompetitors.com. So we will select that one. So you can see here, conclusion, the top 10 Microsoft competitors are Apple, AWS, Google, IBM, etc. I decided to use Apple and IBM, as you can see on the Excel sheet, my stock and the 2 competitors. After you have your company and the 2 main competitors, we can start looking for the financial ratios that we are going to use to compare the companies. The 2 main resources that are going to be helpful here are Emergent Online, which is accessed through the SUNY New Paltz library page, as well as FINRA Markets. And we'll start here by accessing Emergent Online. And to do this, we just want to go to library.newpaltz.edu. I'll paste that into the, and these links will be provided to you as well. So once you're on this page, you can scroll down and you want to go to databases. And then on the right side here, we can click down on the arrow and then scroll down to M. And then you'll see here, Emergent Online. It's going to ask you to put in your SUNY New Paltz information. This is the same user ID and password you use to sign into My New Paltz. Once you put in your information, you can click Login. And you will see this page here. So you will have here on the right or the left side, you can see company search. You can either enter the stock ticker or the company name. So for Microsoft, it is MSFT, and you can select the company. And so on this page, it seems like there's a lot going on, but the important part that we want to see is company financials. So you can click there, and then after selecting that, you can see these subcategories here, and we can do as reported ratios. So if we go back to our Excel sheet, one of our first ratios that we have here under solvency and liquidity ratios is the company's current ratio. So the current ratio for Microsoft for the most recent quarter, which is 6/30/2020, is 2.52. So we will go back to Excel and we can enter that in. (2.52). Next, we will find the current ratio for Apple and then IBM. So again, we can go back and on the top left, you'll see a small button that says search. And then if you want, you can either do the stock ticker or you can type in the company. So you'll see AAPL, that's Apple. And then for the competitor, it's going to be the same thing. So you want to go to company financials, ratios, current ratio 1.36. Now to calculate the percent difference to see how much higher Microsoft is than Apple, we can go ahead and select this cell here, and then we can put equals, the parenthesis sign, and we'll start by doing the Microsoft stock minus the Apple's current ratio. We can close those parentheses, and then we'll divide that by Apple's current ratio. This didn't autofill. You can ignore that for now. But the important part that we see here is that the current ratio of Microsoft is 85% higher than Apple's. And next we can find the current ratio for IBM. So again, in the top left, search button, IBM. Company financials, ratios, current ratio of 0.98. And so similar to how we did here, we want to select this cell here, equal sign, parentheses. This time we're going to still select Microsoft minus the current ratio of IBM divided by IBM's current ratio. So we see that the current ratio of Microsoft is 157% higher than IBM's. And if you were unable to find, let's say one of the financial ratios you want to use is not here on Merge It Online, another website that you can use is FINRA Markets. And again, these URLs will be given to you. So here on FINRA, similar to how we did before, we can search for our company. And then you'll see the tab Key Ratios. So if you select that and you scroll down, there's a number of key ratios and you can search by different categories. So here we have the profitability. Some important ones may be the return on assets or return on equity. These numbers are already given as a percentage. Or we can look up the key ratios for growth. Earnings per share might be an important one. And then you just want to make sure that you're using the same time period. So when we got it from Merge It Online, we used 06/30/2020. So this would be the column that you would want to use, the data that's coming from there. Cash flow, financial health. So similar to the information that we just found, you can see on the bottom here, we have the current ratio, quick ratio, debt to equity. And then we also have some efficiency ratios as well. So what you want to do is go through each one of these, or whichever financial ratios that you decide to use, and input that information and compare the two. And then once you have that information, for example, in this case, knowing that Microsoft's current ratio is 85% higher than Apple's, you can use that information in your summary. So something that may come up as you're doing this, let's say you have a specific financial ratio that you want to use. For example, maybe the price to book ratio, right? Or it could be the debt to total assets ratio. If you're unable to find that on Mergent Online or FINRA, another thing that you can do is you can Google your company, right? Microsoft, and you can do annual Form 10K. And a lot of the times on the company's websites, there will be an investor relations page with the SEC filings. And like we searched before, so we want 2020 annual filings. And then you'll see here Form 10K. So if we select that and view it, this document is filed with the SEC will have the company's financial statements in it. So as a last resort, if you're unable to find the information that you need on either of those websites, you can look at the financial statements on the Form 10K, and you can calculate the financial ratio on your own.